Welcome to the Cryptonometron. Today's ICO reviews on XYO Network. They are a proof of location oracle network, and they are going to decentralize an $11 trillion location reliant trade market, or so they hope. So let's take a look at it, boppers. Let's get down to it and have a look at this ICO in depth. So the competition is not that robust, as there's not many in the space at the moment, and XYO are going to be one of the first movers in the space, possibly the first mover. I did find another couple of competitors though, however, not much on their websites of substance. Platin was one of them. It says it's a proof of location protocol on the blockchain with a lightweight, secure and verifiable protocol. So that is interesting. Another one I found was Sikorka, which is an Ethereum-based system that enables smart contracts to be deployed on the spot in the real world. Again, using proof of location, what they call proof of presence. People's proximity to a location is verified, which allows them to interact with smart contracts found around their location. And probably the biggest competitor, and the one that will have its sights on XYO as the main competitor, will be Foam. Now, Foam is another proof of location protocol. It empowers a permissionless and autonomous network of radio beacons that can offer secure location services independent of external centralized sources such as GPS, and that's done through time synchronization. So Foam looks like a very interesting project indeed. So let's take a look at XYO. Can it beat the competition? So let's have a look now at what problems XYO wants to solve. So the problems they want to solve are pretty big, in fact, and you might not have thought of them. So let's start off with GPS networks are open to jamming, spoofing, cyber attacks and other forms of interference. So they're not exactly secure, and hackers are starting to realize the benefit to themselves, of course, of attacking them. So attacks are growing in frequency and severity now, and a solution has to be found to try and reduce that. Decentralization will be the key. Number three, it's not possible yet for smart contracts to access the real world, so they can't get any information from our real world. They're relying on data sources, websites, data on the internet for their for their data. So there's no way for them to actually connect to anything in the real world itself. And as a result of that, smart contracts are still reliant in general, in the main, on centralized data sources for their input. So for example, if you've got a blockchain, smart contracts, it's a betting blockchain, for example, and you've bet on a football match and the team you bet on wins 1-0, then the blockchain, the smart contract, is relying on a centralized data source that tells them that that team has won 1-0. It doesn't actually have any other way of getting the information than from a centralized data source. Now, it can corroborate that centralized data source with other centralized data sources to then try and verify that it's correct, but again, it's still relying on several different centralized sources. And number five, again, hand in hand with what we've just discussed, there's no way to receive heuristic information to the blockchain at the moment. So the blockchain can't tell what how hot it is, how cold it is, what the air quality is like, that type of information. And with XYO, it will be able to do that. So you can see just how advantageous that this technology could really be. So their aims are to build this blockchain that can, in effect, communicate with the real world. Now, this is a step forward in the technology and something that hasn't been able to have been done before. Now, they have 1 million location verifying beacons already. Those beacons were sold and manufactured by XY Findables, the parent company of this XYO network, or XYO Oracle network, which it stands for. And they want to decentralize this $11 trillion location-reliant trade market. Now, what they say by 11 trillion is the information that is offline, can't be accessed by smart contracts or blockchain at the moment, is worth around $11 trillion. And it's location-reliant as well, so it's like trade, delivery of products, you know, to verify their location, that type of thing. So it's a very interesting project. So the other interesting thing is they've already got these 1 million devices around the world, and they work on Bluetooth and GPS tracking. So it basically allows consumers to track wherever the item is, and you know, if you had a set of keys attached to it, or you attached it to your car or something, you could see wherever it is at any given time. So they're going to use these devices to build this decentralized network and to allow the information that these devices can get from the real world and pass it on back through to the blockchain. So to give an example of how they actually get the data from the real world, if you have coordinates, and you know, they can track wherever an item is at any given time, given the coordinates. If two people interact with each other and they create the data, they have a conversation or they take a picture or whatever, they create data. The data is then converted into metadata, and then it's uploaded to the blockchain, basically. So that's how it functions in a very simplified term. You know, and that gives you the timestamp and the data that the people were actually there at any given moment and at any given time. So this is going to be the first decentralized cryptographic location network built for the world of tomorrow. Sounds very exciting. The world of tomorrow. So it's hard to quantify the market for this brand new technology on top of a brand new technology. How do we look into the future and see what it's worth? Well, you know, a lot of this market, they're banding about figures here, $11 trillion, location-reliant trade market, you know, that type of thing, business to customer commerce sales, business to client commerce sales are like 2.77 trillion, you know, and then the market cap of all crypto, 400 plus billion. It's around 380, 390 today. Bitcoin total market cap 145 plus billion. So there's potential, and we know there's potential, but just how much potential is there? Well, in the future, you know, you've got self-driving cars coming. They'll need this kind of technology. You've got, you know, the e-commerce side, which I think is a weak use case for this this particular technology, if I have to be honest with you. But you know, that you can see it could be applied to so many different, you know, different types of other use cases that it certainly could be maybe over 11 trillion worth of a market they're trying to harness here. It won't obviously get it all, but the more opportunity, you know, the better, obviously, as from an investment standpoint. So yeah, I have to sort of be bullish on the technology adoption side of things here. So let's talk about the blockchain. They're going to use their own chain. It's going to be called the XYO chain. It will be platform agnostic, meaning it can interact with all other chains. It's going to utilize what's called location oracles, and these are the beacons I spoke about before. The beacons are in number 1 million, and they are spread out around the world, and they will be utilized to provide data, for example, to pass back to the blockchain. I'll explain a little bit more how that works in the next chapter. The access will be voluntary. You have to opt in if you're going to use it. It's going to employ zero-knowledge proofs, which is a way of providing an authentication without exchanging any private data to keep all that private and secure. It's going to employ heuristics. Obviously, these location oracles will be able to tell the time, the temperature, light, and get information from the real world and pass that on. Because we're using a blockchain, it's obviously going to be trustless, private where necessary, and also importantly identityless as well. So when you're using it, you won't be logged on as yourself. It can be completely identityless and anonymous. And number 7, they're employing what's called proof of origin, what they term as transient key chaining. And the easiest way to explain this is it's Internet of Things device security. So it adds security to the network, to the platform. So let's look at the XYO network and some of the technology and how it actually works. Well, there are four main components, four primary components, if you like, to the network. First one is the Sentinel. Now, the Sentinel is the device which gathers data about location, environment, and other nearby XYO network devices, and it stores this information on an onboard digital ledger. It can also be used for heuristics as well, so it can it can see whether it's light, dark, tell the temperature, whatever. Then you have bridges, or the data relayers. Now, what bridges do? They relay the information from the Sentinels to the public blockchain, where it is stored on the chain. Then you've got the archivists, or the data stores. Now, archivists, they store and index information that's transmitted via the bridges. And then finally, you have diviners, or the answer aggregators. Now, diviners access the information in order to verify location or to answer certain questions or queries that are posed to it. So that's basically how the network works. So let's go through the step-by-step on how it would actually work as an example. So interaction history between different Sentinels and also the bridges creates an unalterable proof of origin chain, which is stored and indexed by the archivists. By examining individual proof of origin chains and their intersections with other chains, diviners can provide location verification and location history for a specific Sentinel or a set of Sentinels. So since interactions between Sentinels are recorded on each device's individual proof of origin chain, it can be verified that the interaction occurred by comparing the chains at the point of interaction. And that creates this concept they call bound witnesses, which allows the establishment of trust and certainty despite the decentralized nature of the XYO network. So when a user, for example, submits a query to the XYO network, if they want to know if an e-commerce order was delivered to the customer, there exists the potential for inaccurate or conflicting responses. So diviners examine all the available information and determine the best possible answer based on the timeliness and trustworthiness of the information provided. So it's all explained in the white paper, and that's pretty much a simplified version of it. I'll link to a site below where it explains a little bit easier than the white paper material, and where I got some of that information from as well. So that's in a nutshell how it works. It's quite complicated, at least sounds quite complicated, but that's the XYO network for you. So there are some better use cases outlined on this page of the website I found just after I did the video, so I've gone back and added this in. Again, some use cases are e-commerce. There's also medical care and hospitals as well, which I find a bit of an odd one, but rental car agencies as well. You can see where that would be useful, knowing where the car is at all times as well, you know where the keys are, and anything else. Commercial airline, luggage logistics, again, where the suitcases are going, where the baggages are. It could be a very, very interesting use case as well. Again, they've got PDFs for all these use cases, so you can download and have a look. Insurance agencies, high value, high mobility objects. Insurance agencies can use this technology to track and keep tabs on them. National security agencies, not sure I like that particular usage, but nevertheless, I suppose it's probably going to happen eventually. And this was an interesting one as well. Drone package delivery systems. Interesting. That'll probably be ubiquitous by the time I get into my 60s, so I'll be ordering stuff off the internet and it'll arrive via drone. And again, I suppose that comes into the e-commerce thing. If there's not a human person there to take payment, if the shop knows that you've received the goods, they can automatically charge you the payment, and I guess that would be more applicable to drone deliveries than anything else. So quite interesting. There's some other use cases as well outlined, but not detailed. High value diamonds and rare stones. Autonomous self-driving vehicles are a pretty self-explanatory use case there, and also gaming as well, which interesting. I'm not sure how they're going to implement there, but it'll be very, very interesting to see how this technology is going to develop in all these different fields. So to reference back to the blog I was referring to in the last tech section, the XYO token is an incentivizing utility token. It works as a component of the XYO network. It serves as a sort of gas fee. So if you call a query, for example, you want to know where something is, the gas fee will be rather small. But if you call a number of queries, like you say, I want to know where 1,000 of these items are, then obviously the gas fee will be higher. So that's essentially how it works. They'll be based then on the priority and complexity of the request. So the tokens are then awarded to the diviner, which provides the best answer, the archivists as well, which stored the information used to generate the answer, and also the bridges and sentinels, which provided the data. So people that have got the sentinels, they will receive some tokens, or a fraction of the tokens, the bridges also, the diviners also, and the archivists. So everybody, or all the components are rewarded for their participation in the network and incentivized to provide reliable and useful data. Okay, so no red flags on this project. There's no scam warnings or anything that I could find. The company is already up and running, XY Findables as they're called, and this is just an extension of their company, the next evolution in their business model, the XY Oracle network. So yeah, the people all check out on the team. It's a legitimate business. No red flags raised here. So let's take a look at the ICO details now, and this is where the project starts to fall down, in my opinion. Number one, the pre-sale details yet to be disclosed and as yet unknown. We do know the price, however, was 1 Ether for 200,000 XYO, which is a 100% bonus over the ICO price. And yeah, that's an up to a 600% bonus over the final ICO price as well, which is just utterly ridiculous in my opinion. ICO price will be 1 Ether for 100,000 to 33,333 actually XYO. So there will be a tiered stage to the ICO. It'll start at 100,000 for 1 Ether and then go down. The ICO starts on the 20th of March. Only Ethereum will be accepted, and there's no soft cap and no hard cap as far as I can tell. The hard cap, again, they say they're just going to sell as many tokens as they need to sell. Again, the hard cap, if they do sell the total supply of 100 billion, yep, you heard me right, 100 billion tokens, then the hard cap's going to be around 500 million straight as soon as it hits the exchanges, which is ridiculous, really. It'll be the highest grossing ICO ever, next to Telegram, of course. But these figures are just pie in the sky in my opinion, and the token sale, the structure hasn't been thought through properly. It hasn't been implemented properly. It's not on the website. It's not clear. It's not apparent to investors. It's hard to get all this information, and this is a major fail for an ICO project in my opinion. And total tokens for sale, with just under 50% of the total 100 billion, will be 49,996,800,000. But there's not really any hard cap. They're never going to sell that amount of tokens, in my opinion, and therefore, it's going to fall short, I think, of their requirements. The way the token sale is structured is ridiculous, as I've said, and I'll say again. I think after the top tier of the ICO is over, after the 100,000 tokens per 1 Ethereum, if that tier is over, I think it's going to be very hard to shift the tokens at a lower price. So referring to the executive summary that's downloadable from the website, you can see the pre-sale details that started on January the 5th, ended on February the 28th. The price there was 1 Ether for 200,000 XYO. Minimum purchase was 15 Ether, maximum unlimited. So, if you got in at pre-sale, it's your best chance of making money at this project, I believe. An Ethereum now will buy you only half that amount, and that's not really going to incentivize people to participate in the ICO. If you miss the first tier and you're buying at 33,333 XYO for 1 Ethereum, then you're going to be 600% down on your investment from a pre-sale buyer. So that's not really what I'd like to see. In addition to that, for every token sold to the public, 1 token will be generated for XY, the Findables company, and 3.2 billion additional tokens will be pre-generated for the company and team. And You know, that type of thing. It's just it just seems to me that they just haven't thought the whole token sale through. And you know, again, they're not, all these details are not available on the website. I had to go to Telegram to get some of the details off them, like the maximum total supply and the amount that was going to be sold at crowd sale. They need to have it on the homepage, on the token sale page, clear as day, so investors know exactly what's going on. So final word about the token sale, and as I mentioned, this is the website here. There's limited information on the website. You can whitelist right now. All unsold tokens will be burned after the sale concludes, which may lead it to have, depending on the popularity, this might be actually quite a good investment to get involved in. You know, if they don't sell a lot of tokens, it could be quite valuable. So there's that to think of as well. They will also be having an audited smart contract by a third party as well. So that's another thing to consider. So XYO Network are having a bounty campaign. It's on Bitcoin Forum. I'll put the link below as usual. A total of $3 million worth of tokens, very generous indeed, will be allocated to the bounty program. The program will run until the end of the token sale, and the bounties will be paid within 30 days after the end. As you can see, the campaign is as follows. It's quite diverse. Twitter will get 7.5%, translation and moderation 5%, Facebook 7.5%, Steam at 5%, signature campaign 20%, LinkedIn 5%, content creation 27.5%, newsletter 5%, YouTube 2.5%, Telegram advertising 2.5%, crypto compare 2.5%, the airdrop from Telegram 5%, and a bonus of 5% as well. And it's currently running. It'll run till the end of the ICO, I believe. You can check your participation in the spreadsheet as per usual. Rules apply. Stakes will be given depending on the quality of content and also your participation status as well. Rules to follow, you know, so just check the rules for each of the categories you're participating in, and as I said, I'll leave a link below to the bitcoin.org forum thread, and I'll probably submit this to the bounty campaign for the content creation. So you can find the roadmap in the green paper. Yes, there's a green paper, there's a red paper, there's a white paper, there's an executive summary. There's quite a lot of information about this project. One of the good things is they have gone to the trouble of actually trying to present a lot of information. The website, not the greatest, as I said. It could be better. It doesn't really give me the information I want. The token details aren't on it, etc. But you know, the actual papers are quite well written. This is no exception. It's got a detailed roadmap. I won't troll through it. I'll point out a couple of things. They have been working in the world of location verification since 2012. They are an existing Bluetooth GPS business as well. They have over 1 million of these devices across the world already, so they know what they're doing. They've been successful in their startups before. They've launched a consumer-facing business-to-business location brand for retail called Webble. That was quite successful, and it rolled out in 9,000 retail stores already. They have obviously improved their devices over time, as you can see. They're now currently on I think it's the XY4 Plus device, which is capable of operating as an XYO network node with a firmware update. So they've already had this in the pipeline for some time, so it's been well thought out. As to the future, what's going to happen? Well, we're obviously going to have the token sale coming soon, I think, this month, 20th of March. And then the main net will launch Q3, Q4 2018. So not a long time to wait for something tangible to actually happen. I believe they've said an MVP or something will be available before the crowd sale, so it should be imminent. And throughout 2019, they're going to obviously grow their global network as well. So I'll leave a link to the green paper below so you can read it yourself and find out exactly what the roadmap contains. So let's quickly look at the team now, and Ari is the founder and architect. Scott is the co-founder, head of marketing. So Ari has been working, developing software for a long time. He's a serial entrepreneur. He founded XY Findables back in 2012, as we discussed before. It was incorporated at the Nth Degree LLC before it was converted in 2016. So he currently serves as Chief Executive Officer, Chief Financial Officer, Chief Operating Officer, and Chairman of the Board of Directors. So he's a man of many talents, and you can tell he's got a real passion for this business. Scott has worked on many exciting ventures, it says, with exceptionally talented people. He's built his own company as well. He launched Greenlamp, a programmatic advertising agency specializing in direct response media buying, fully automated using algorithms to manage the campaigns. Okay, sounds excellent. And Greenlamp generated over $12 million in revenue in its first year of operation. It's pretty remarkable there. Marcus Levin is the co-founder and head of operations. He mined his first Bitcoin back in 2013, and he's been involved ever since. William Long is the head of hardware. What I like here, he says he's a rare breed. Check his photo out. Yeah, he certainly is. And he's been he spends his free time, programming Bluetooth and GPS hardware, preferring to do so in assembly code. And he brings expertise in storage area networks, NAS systems, and enterprise class data storage systems for mission critical applications. So going down, let's have a look at some of these other people. Christine Sacco's head of analytics, background in mathematics, right? Johnny Kolasinski, head of media. I see he does podcasts on Game of Thrones. Interesting. I wonder which ones they are. I'll have to have a look to see whether I can listen to them, because I quite like Game of Thrones. It's pretty cool. Jordan Trow, she runs the customer experience division. Lee Cossey, he is the senior design engineer. And going down again, yeah, they've got quite an extensive team. Advisory body, let's have a look. Okay, so Tom Kissar is he's been involved with Augur before. He's the op lead at Augur, which is a decentralized oracle and prediction market platform built on Ethereum, if you're not familiar with it. Raul Jordan, he is an advisor for the main chain scalability, and Raul is leading the Ethereum Geth sharding effort, and that powers over 60% of Ethereum nodes. Interesting. He's a Harvard dropout. There we go. David Kim. So what's his specialty? He is a blockchain specialist who aims to apply DLT, distributed ledger technology, to anything and everything. He's the co-author of PricewaterhouseCoopers' Introduction to Token Sale Best Practices. Interesting. So he's obviously advising them on how to run the ICO. Zach Folkman, he sits quietly behind the biggest online brands and companies that pioneer digital advertising. I see. So he's advertising advisor. Adam Shaghagi, is it? Azam Shaghagi, sorry, Azam. She's a bold entrepreneur and blockchain consultant with a deep passion for innovation and disruptive technology. There we go. She's a rep at the United Nations, interesting, and a member of Entrepreneurship and Investment Committee at the International Astronautical Federation. World-renowned author as well. She's wrote for the Huffington Post, Medium magazine, and Blockchain magazine as well. And then finally we've got Tristan Blake, who is an advisor on AI. He is the founder and community architect of the Machine Learning Society and founder of XYO Data Plus Science. Strong advocate of building technologies in AI. Okay, very interesting and experienced advisory body and team. Again, no question over implementation. They've already shown they can implement with XY Findables, so I've got no quibbles here. So the main partner is obviously XY Findables. They are the company behind XY Oracle Network, XYO Network. There it is on their website, as you can see. So since 2012, this company's been on a mission to decentralize the world's location data. And they've done this by creating a real-world network of the beacons that we've discussed before that interact every day in the real world. So now they're successfully rolling out their consumer business, XY Find It. they are now primed to introduce the most exciting breakthrough in geospatial history, the XY Oracle Network. All very interesting. It's interesting to read about the company as well. If we go to the story page, you can actually see the little beacons. There they are there. There's one on the handbag, as you can see, and another one there on a set of keys. So they are an actual product, and interestingly enough, they did actually fund their business on Kickstarter 3 years ago. They raised over $200,000 and were one of the most popular businesses for that particular year as well. In the first year of manufacturing, they did $1.5 million in revenue. They have customers, business deals with Amazon, Target, Walmart, and Fry. So that's very interesting indeed. They doubled their revenue as well, I should note as well, between the first and second year. Community support here is reasonable. They have their code on GitHub. They've got Telegram, Twitter. They're on Reddit, Medium, YouTube, Instagram, Bitcoin Talk Forum, and on Facebook as well. So all the main bases are covered. They have just under 5,000 members on their Telegram. I'm sure that's going to grow. So that's fairly reasonable. There's the GitHub there. They've got 12 repositories. They've got their smart contract and stuff on the GitHub. Twitter, they've only got 1,691 followers on Twitter, but 99% of those are thumbs up, only 4 fake followers. So all genuine people that are interested or in the project are following them as well, and they update regularly on all the social media. As I said, their blog is good on Medium as well. It gives you a good simplified explanation of how the network works. I've used it for this video, and I'll link to it below as usual as well. So yeah, community support, middling to good, I would say, for this project, and it can only get better from here, guys, let's be honest. So this is the verdict, and this is where I go through the positives. First of all, this has smart contract on GitHub. They have several repositories there, and it shows that they're willing to share the information with the general public, as well as the smart contract being on GitHub. It is being audited by a third party, so we should give them credit for that. Number two, probably the most important positive, is the technology is great. I love the technological aspect of this. It was difficult for me to wrap my head around it, but I get it now, and I hope I've tried to explain it to you guys properly so that you understand it, because it is quite confusing. Presentation of the material isn't the best on the website. You really have to start going through all the papers to understand just what this thing does and how it really can be evolutionary in the blockchain space. So the technology is fantastic, and that is really the selling point of this ICO, in my opinion. Number three, they have a vision, and I say that because they've been working towards this end for quite some time now with their beacons, their sentinels, if you like, and they've obviously had this in mind prior to the blockchain explosion we've seen over the last sort of 18 months or so. So this is the culmination of their efforts, if you like, and in that you can see the passion and the technical and the know-how that they've put into all of this. It's quite something. So number four, they've already had a successful business. They crowdfunded it. They've got revenue coming in. So they're already established that they can do this. They can implement. There's no question over that whatsoever. And number five, it is an SEC approved business. Now, while the ICO might raise some different questions about SEC approval, especially with their recent hardening stance towards ICOs in the US, their core business, XY Findables, is an SEC approved business. They are having a IPO. It's going to be a unique and special IPO where they're going to sell mini IPOs to different people. Looks very interesting. It's all on their website, the XY Findables site, which I've linked to in the description. You can go and have a look at that. It's very interesting. I think that's a positive though, because they understand the regulatory implications. So number six, another important point. This could be very disruptive and very evolutionary for blockchain in itself. Actually getting the ability to get real world information is something that hasn't really been achieved yet. So this could well be evolutionary in the space. Number 7, another positive as well, it incentivizes the users. So anybody using the platform, acting as a node or just making a query is incentivized to use it because there's the tokenized reward system. 8, it's a first mover in the space. Nobody else is doing this. Certainly nobody else is doing it with the hardware solution and the software solution as well. 9, it's a potential multi-trillion market, and it's currently unpenetrated as well. So there's a lot of potential to make money here. And if you're an investor, that's what you like to hear. Number 10, I've looked at the competition, and well, there's only really one, and it's Foam. And this project looks to have the competitive advantage again because it's got the hardware solution behind it. Number 11, the team is experienced and can definitely implement here. I've no doubt about that whatsoever. Even the founder and the co-founder ran successful businesses, made a lot of money. They know what they're doing. They're entrepreneurs. Yeah, and that's what you really want when you're starting something of this ilk. You want somebody that knows what it takes to get something new and groundbreaking off the ground. Number 12, it's both a hardware and a software solution as well. So you've got a sort of a two-pronged attack. You're not just building a blockchain, you're actually providing the hardware as well. And number 13, which relates to the token sale, is that the token burn itself may lower supply to gain making levels. And I'll explain why I think the burn is probably going to be needed when we get to the negatives. So there are negatives behind this project, and mostly they're all token related. Number 1 though, they don't have an MVP or a prototype available as far as I'm aware, and of course that is going to count against them because I like to see that they've got that far before they're asking us to dip into our pockets for millions. Number 2, pre-sale information is not yet released. You know, I want to know as an investor in the ICO, I want to know how much they've raised during the pre-sale. Was it successful? I need to know these details before I'm going to part with my cash, I'm afraid. Number 3, 100% bonuses for pre-sale participants. You know, that's just ridiculous, guys. If I'm an ICO buyer and I see that pre-sale participants get a 100% bonus, I'm going to question, is it worth me going in at this stage? Number 4, pre-sale participants may receive 600% bonus over ICO buyers. Now, if you're at the lowest stage or lowest tier of the ICO, you're going to pay a lot more than a pre-sale participant for your tokens, and it's just not going to incentivize people to take part in the ICO, I'm sorry. Number 5, overall, ridiculous ICO tokenomics. I think this is probably one of the worst ICOs that I've reviewed in terms of token metrics. Number 6, again, token related, no hard cap. Guys, have you not realized now that we like to see a hard cap? We want to know how much money you need to raise for your project to make it happen. Have you not done any analysis on that yet? Obviously not, because what you're saying is we'll just let the market decide, and that's just not good enough as far as I'm concerned. Number 7, again, it's a tiered ICO. I think it's going to be 3 tiers from 1 Ethereum equaling 100,000 XYO tokens to 1 Ethereum equaling as little as 33,333 XYO tokens. You know, so it's going to discourage people getting involved in the later tiers. They're going to look and say, well, I missed out. I could have had those kind of bonuses. I'll just wait for the exchanges. It's ridiculous. Number 8, it's going to be hard to make a profit as an ICO buyer here. Even if they sell 25% of their tokens, they're going to probably go into the top 100 on CoinMarketCap, and that's going to make it very difficult for this project to grow. You know, despite maybe the delusions or the illusions of grandeur that the team may have about how big this project can grow, from an investment standpoint, I'm looking at this to put my money in. I'm going to want a 10x or a 20x, and that's not going to be possible here in this ICO, in my opinion. Number 9, it doesn't have the community or hype behind it to meet the goals of the project, I believe. This isn't going to raise the kind of money I think they want to raise, and you know, perhaps that's why they've had these silly tokenomics. I'm not sure, but you know, I would go back to the drawing board with the token economics on this project. It really hurts it. So let's look at the potential gains on this project now. given that if they even sell 25% of their tokens, they're going to probably be straight away in the top 100 of the coin market cap, top 100 tokens, top 100 coins. So it's going to, it's going to be difficult to make profit from this, I think, initially. So, ultra bearish, I'm going to say 1x, because it's not going to grow in a bearish market, this. And again, it's not going to suddenly just go on the exchanges in a bearish market and go upwards. Even if you're getting the tokens at less than a cent at the first tier of ICO, it's still not going to do anything in a bearish market, I think. Bullish market, however, it could see a 3x, I think. You've got to take into consideration the high market cap. If it does sell, say, 25%, which is a reasonable estimation of its tokens, then it's going to go into the top 100. It's going to have a market cap around, I would suggest, around 300 to 350 million straight off the bat. So, if it's bullish, that's, that you're taking that to almost a billion market cap. Is that the potential of this project? It could be, but again, it would need to be a very bullish market. And again, that's why I can't see gains beyond about 5x for this project, simply because it's starting at quite a high market cap already. So for flipping, nah, this isn't going to be able to flip. And the reason I say this is because they've just got so many tokens for sale during the crowd sale that if you want them, you can pick them up at the ICO. And if you want, you can pick them up easily on the exchanges. There won't be a big demand for these. They won't sell out. And that creates demand. When things are in short supply, it creates demand, it creates a buzz, it creates people want to buy them, and that pushes the price up. This will not do that. It's got so many tokens for sale, you can buy them at any time. No, it won't be a flipping ICO, I believe. For hodling though, well, again, well, you're going to be holding for quite a while to get any decent returns out of this one, I think. So, the final verdict. Well, it's great technology, it's great tech, but it's messy, messy economics. And that's why, unfortunately, I can only give this a 3 out of 5. And, the economics are so messy with this project. If the technology wasn't half as good as it is, it would have scored a lot lower. Similarly, if they just thought about the token economics, the token metrics a little bit better and done the sensible thing and capped it at a fairly low cap, raised what they needed, and with a fair distribution of tokens, a fair supply of tokens, this would have scored a lot higher. So, my verdict is I'm on the fence about this ICO. I love the technology. I love the concept. I think it could be evolutionary. I said that already. But for me, the economics are just so messy. It's not even on their website. The token sale details, I had to get off Telegram. It was a pain to do the tokenomics section on this review. So, I'm on the fence, as I say. Am I going to invest? I'll probably hold off till it goes to exchanges on this one, I'm afraid, because, what's the point? The supply will be there. There's no need to rush in. I didn't get in at pre-sale, so I didn't get those big bonuses. So I'll wait and see how it performs before putting my toe in the water. So there we are. That's my XYO network review. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any comments about this review or this project or any other project you want me to review, please put them in the comment section below. Please like, please subscribe. Let's help the channel grow, guys. We're a community here. If you've got any thoughts, post them below. Just to let you know, if you do post links, they do get moderated. So if you post a link and you don't see your comment, it goes into the moderation bin. So that's why I don't allow links, because you get too many referral links, too many referral links, and too many people posting spam that all comments with links or emails or anything else get moderated, and if you're posting spam, you get dumped from the channel. So simple as that. If your link is for a project or showing the community something about this ICO or anything else, then it will get approved. It's as simple as that. So thanks for watching, guys. As ever, I have to do the usual disclaimer that I'm not a financial advisor. These videos are not financial advice. These are for entertainment purposes only. If you're going to invest in ICOs, please bear in mind every ICO poses inherent risk. They're not a guaranteed way of making money by any standards of the imagination. But if you're going to invest in ICOs, never invest more than you can afford to lose. Always do your own due diligence. Always do your own research. And always invest wisely, and always invest cautiously as well. Don't go rushing in. Fools rush in and they get wrecked. So Thanks guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. I'm doing my news videos every day now. It's taking me a bit more time. I've got to be a little bit more on the ball, but I hope you're watching and enjoying them. And I will be doing more ICO reviews as well. So yeah,